Good morning. This is the weekend update for Buy Sell Short for Saturday, May 10th. And this morning we're just going to go over the major indice charts, see where they set up, and then give a little bit of commentary on where I think the market possibly could go near term. Now we're looking at the Dow daily chart, and you can see we've continued to bump up with new all-time high closing highs over the last couple of days, but it's not been an easy market. You can see here on the Dow daily chart, we've seen volume really just continue to slowly move even lower as the weeks have tipped by. Since we saw that market top in the middle of March, since then, really for the last month, it's essentially been a crap market. We've seen the indices continue to hold up, but we have seen the majority of stocks get hammered. But you can see here we continue to threaten to break out to new all-time highs. We've got stochastics up there in a position that is indicating a bullish move near term. If we look at the 15-minute chart, you can see there is a pretty clear pattern. We've got that resistance level at the 16,600 level, and essentially a 150-point range that we've been bouncing back and forth in. Dow transports are flagging here on the daily chart, and it looks like we could potentially see this downtrend resistance line on RSI break this week. That would be viewed as a bullish development. Russell continues to trade under the 200-day moving average, but even though, it's gotten hammered over the last month or so, the bears are just unable to deliver that death blow. Every time it looks like this market is going to implode, out of the blue, we bounce back. Majority of stocks don't move, but we have the indices bounce back. And that kind of frustration, both for longs and especially for shorts, where, it just looks like things are going to implode and they don't, typically results in the towel getting thrown in and a large upward advance. Now, the very good thing about the major indices trading at all-time highs, while we've seen the kind of damage that we've seen in so many stocks. I mean, the small cap sector has been decimated. The NASDAQ stocks, technology stocks, absolutely hammered. Even Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, when we saw the Dow trying to break out and posting new all-time highs, we had continued selling on high volume in the technology stocks, and this head and shoulders formation is still in play, but refuses to break down. It looks like that 200-day moving average is going to be very, very hard for the bears to break, and that could result in a sharp upward move. You can see we are also close to breaking this downtrend resistance line on RSI as well on the NASDAQ. So the two areas I'm really watching closely are the NASDAQ and the Russell, because those are the two areas that are going to give us the biggest bang for our buck if and when we do see this market break out. Now, what are my thoughts on this market going forward? It has been an extremely frustrating market for the last 3-4 weeks. A lot of traders, I know a lot of new guys who've really only gotten into this market in the last year or 2 years, have no idea how to trade a market like this. It's been a long time since we've seen the market act like this. Believe me when I say it, this is very, very, very typical market action, especially after the kind of mania we saw in the first 3 months of the year. A pause and a dead period. Typically, in a normal market, we see this occur 1, 2, 3 times even a year. We've been very fortunate that we really haven't seen this kind of deadness over the last year or two. But every mania, which is followed by a pause, is usually followed by a very, very nice upward period. Now, I'm going to give you an example of a chart here. AVEO. Of course, the biotech stocks have been utterly decimated over the last month, along with a lot of the other high beta momentum names. It's essentially a non-momentum market, and as traders, a non-momentum market is probably the worst kind of market to trade, because you just end up being range bound. Things are very, very random, and it gets very, very frustrating. And during periods of that, you've noticed I've sent out hardly any swing emails over the last 3 weeks. There's been hardly any plays. I'll take breaks during the day. I took a little mini vacation this week for a couple of days. I took the kids to Disneyland. This is something I've learned to do over the many, many, many years we've been trading. Sometimes there are markets you trade. Sometimes there are markets you do nothing in. It has been a do-nothing market. And I know for a lot of people, it can be frustrating sitting around and going, God damn, he's going on another break again. What's he doing? I'm protecting my capital. This is a market that can wipe you out. I posted an article last week regarding some, these Twitter quotation mark gurus who've blown their account out playing stuff over the last month or so as the market's been in a free fall. And we've been playing a couple of swing plays small, majority cash, because we've seen this story so many times and we know how it plays out. Now when things are ready to turn, a lot of those traders have gotten a lot of their capital wiped out and they're going to be gun shy in playing versus us. We are bored, we are eager to trade, and we're just waiting for those opportunities. Look at AVEO's chart. These are going to be the kind of plays we're going to be looking to play very, very soon. Hopefully this week if things come to pass. It looks identical to the setups we play in December and January popper stocks, except, we don't have tax selling. We just have poor market conditions and a stock just getting walked all the way down. I mean, look at this. $1.96 to $1.05 on no real news over the last 6 weeks. That is a 50% drop. Trading under cash, biotech stock, all the indicators deeply oversold. These are the kind of setups that are going to give fat moves. Now, when you're playing these kind of moves, and I'm building lists so that when we start to see plays rock and roll, I've got these lists ready to roll out. Usually the first target on these kind of bounces is the 20-day exponential. That is the green line. That would be a first target on a bounce. And then the secondary target is typically the 50-day moving average. And you can see both of these moving averages very, very high above. So just to give you an idea, these are the kind of plays once things really start to turn around, and hopefully we'll see that in the next few days. These are the kind of plays that we are going to be hitting big time. We had a very nice runner this week, though. Let me go to the daily chart here. Mad Cats finally got that nice little breakout, and on Wednesday and Thursday, boom, this is a sweet 40% move for us over the last week or so. Big retrace on it on Friday. I'll go back to that 15-minute chart. You can see here on Friday some nonsense on the open, and Specialist walked it all the way down. You see the 66.21? This was us buying in the chat room, as you know. Ended up trading all the way back up to 74 cents. An almost 15% gain from that intraday low. Haven't been seeing a lot of this action where we get a nice little dip and bounce intraday, but it's a good sign that we saw that happen on Mad Cats, and we'll see where it goes this week. PTN, we continue to wait patiently for that news. Biotech stock, each and every time that we've seen MACD get to an extreme level, we've seen a very, very fat bounce the next week, especially when we've got stochastics down at the 20 level. So looking really, really good. Hopefully we will get that fat news this week. And just to give you an idea what some of these biotech stocks will do when they get news, check out PBMD. This stock broke down under $1 last week. It's one I've been watching. It's kind of similar pattern as AVEO, except it's more narrow and taking a long time. They got fast track approval for the drug. Big whoop. Doesn't really make that big a deal, but they were buying this one up at $1.40 pre-market for a 40% gainer if you're in it. We're going to start to see a lot more of these happening. As I've been saying over the last couple of weeks, what I really want to see to get a warm and fuzzy on the market before we get really, really aggressive is some of my watch list plays blow up. We see 2, 3, 4 of these stocks really start to go. Then we can get our mojo going. Then we can start hitting things. Right now, the market is a lot of flippity-flip penny crap stuff where you don't get a whole lot of volume. I mean, if you look around at some of these stocks that average volume of 1 million shares, 2 hours into the session some days, these stocks are trading 20,000 shares. The volume is just not there because everyone is sitting on their hands. And, an indicator I usually use is Twitter. Twitter has been dead over the last couple of weeks. You see some traders out there who are in every stock that's moving, but you don't hear about the 900 other plays that they've done that they've lost their ass on. You just look at some of these plays. A lot of these traders, they don't know how to sit in their hands and do nothing. It's been a do-nothing market, but on that note, I think we're curling for a move to the upside. I think this market could be setting up for a very big move up. Now, we need a 20% tank, 15%, even a 10% tank would be great, but the market has been unable to give us that, and the more times you try to break down and you don't break down, the odds of the opposite thing happening go up exponentially. And, even though the indices have been hanging up pretty strong, if we see these indices continue to break out, we're going to see greed take over and traders really start to get the mojo back. And just looking around, guys, at some of the plays, doing some scans this weekend, oh my God, I am salivating at the setups that I see out there. Stocks that we played last year all the way back down over the last 2 months and ready and coiled for big moves. So be patient, guys. It's going to be very, very nice when things turn around. Have an awesome Mother's Day weekend and see you all in the chat room on Monday. Goodbye.